Hey, what's up, everyone? Listen, I want to just thank you for taking the time to tune in to my channel today. I hope that everyone had an amazing day. So, you know what, you can see kind of what we got going on here today. And I wanted to take this time, an opportunity to talk to you about why I do what I do, and wanted to direct you to a biblical scripture that is one of the motivations, and probably the main motivation for which I do what I do. And it's because of being a good steward of what God has given me and my talents. And so there's a scripture in the Bible, Matthew chapter 25. And this text, it talks about, I think it's Matthew chapter 25. Yeah, Matthew chapter 25. I have the green screen kind of cut off here. So I'm going to put on my Bible study hat a little bit here. Prior ministry hat that I used to hold several years back. So we're going to put that on here. We're going to talk about this text, and we're just going to tie it into my personal brand at TOFA. So as you know, TOFA is a Renaissance man's brand. It is a conglomerate of all of my gifts and abilities that God has given me, and I'm presenting that to the world to help men become the best version of themselves so that they can die empty, in the words of Myles, Munroe, leaving everything that you have inside of you on the playing field of life and optimizing every gift and ability that you have. You don't want to leave anything on the playing field of life. There are so many people that have died, that have left businesses and dreams and goals on the inside of them, things that they were good at that they never really tapped into fully. And so several years back, after the close of my ministry, I said, you know what? I got to find a way to give back. I got to find a way to give myself for the benefit of whomever. And so I came up with a brand. It's changed names over the past few years, but I landed on TOFA, the Renaissance Man's brand. And it is a lifestyle brand, but it is, like I said, it's kind of a combination of all my gifts and abilities. And it comes from, the primary motivation comes from not only Myles Munroe, when he talks about dying empty, giving of yourself fully, emptying your cup. With the gifts and abilities that God has given you, but also this particular scripture in the book of Matthew, chapter 25, where it talks about the parable of the talents. The parable of the talents. And I'll just briefly direct your attention here where it says, he says, verse 20 says, and so he that had received 5 talents he brought, and he delivers thou unto him 5 talents. And behold, he had gained beside them 5 more talents. So in verse 5, what the story of this text is that it's a parable of a man with talents. And some people say it's actual talents, or gifts or abilities, but some say that it's coins or representation of something that was invested in you. And with this particular parable, God gave them his talents, or the master or the ruler gave him talents. And he says, okay, I'm giving you an X amount of talents. I'm giving you a certain amount of talents. And when I come back, I want you to show me what you've done with what I've given you. I need you to produce good fruit of what has been given to you. And so in this text, and I'm going to use the phrase God because I'm talking in the context of scripture, and I believe that this is true because this is related to God in his relationship with us. Is that God gave us talents. So God gave these men their talents. He says, I gave 1 5, I gave 1 3, and it goes down the line, all down to the one where it says, I gave him 1. The one with the 5 talents and gifts and abilities, he went and made more gifts. The one that had 1 talent said, you know what? I only got 1. I'm just going to take this and I'm going to hoard it. I'm going to keep it so I don't lose it. And sometimes that's a mentality that we have when we feel like we don't have a lot. We tend to hold on really tightly to what we have, and we don't tend to give of ourselves more in hopes of getting a return on our investment. And so what is the lesson here? The lesson is that when God gives you a gift and an ability, you are to use that and optimize it, and you're supposed to turn it over, because if you use it, he says that I'm going to give you more. Okay? You look down there in the text, he says, he gave him more and he was blessed as a result of it. And it's a very familiar passage. It says that further down, he says that you were faithful over a few, Now I'm going to make you ruler over many. So what am I saying here is that, man, woman, whoever's listening to me, you might have different things within inside of you that are talents and abilities. You might be good at whatever it is. You might be good at sewing. You might be good at cooking. You might be just good at, at doing hair, braiding hair, doing eyelashes. You might be good at as a barber. You might not have a number of gifts and abilities, but you might be good at something. All I'm telling you is God gave you that gift. God gave you that ability. Use it and find a way to optimize it in the very best way that you can. Maybe it's starting a brand. Maybe it's starting a business. Maybe it's just giving in charity and helping out other people. Whatever it is that you feel like God is leading you to do in that way, then I think that that's the way that you need to go. But for whatever you do, under no circumstance, don't put the gift down. Don't just let it go by the wayside. Don't let it collect us. Because gifts and abilities are like anything else. The longer you don't use them, they become atrophied and they're not as sharp. So use the gifts and abilities. Realize that God gave you those things for a reason. All of us are different. All of us are so unique, and we have our own perspectives, and we have different things that we're good at. And if God put you here on this earth for a particular reason, if God put you here on this earth, period, it's for a particular reason. Okay? And there is something unique and special about you that needs to be tapped into so that you can use what it is that was given for the benefit and for the glory of God, and also for the benefit of mankind. So I want to tell you this. As long as you're here, you got a purpose. You got a reason why you're here. Find out what that is. Find out what that gift or ability is, because you might feel it's insignificant, but nothing is small. Nothing is insignificant. And that particular thing, God can use that for your glory, for his glory in your life. And like he says in the end, he says that he will make you ruler over many. When you start to really use what the Lord gives you and you use your gifts and abilities, it's like one thing after another starts to happen. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you guys for listening. Follow me on my social media. I'm going to upload the same video to YouTube. So follow me, check me out, and I appreciate you guys. Remember, don't let anything bring you down. You got this. Die empty. And you know what? I believe in you. All right, guys, till the next time.